Episode 6, the In-Schape podcast with your host, The Shapers. I'm Josh Buff Comedy.
And I'm Adriana.
And in today's episode, we're going to talk about group classes. Now, if you go to any big box gym, 24 Hour Fitness, Planet Fitness, Crunch Fitness, you usually find a long list at the front of group classes you can take with your membership. Now, these classes range anywhere from Zumba to bar fitness to yoga, a whole wide variety of different classes with different goals you can take. Now, when you go to the gym on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, Thursday, Monday, you'll see a long line outside the Group X class waiting to go see their favorite instructor and do their favorite fitness class. Usually all those people are talking, mingling, getting ready to try to get some fitness in, right? Now, in today's episode, we're going to talk about how group classes can hold you back from having long-term results based on our experience. Now, we're not just making judgments as bodybuilders. We're not just outside of Group X class saying, you guys should be lifting heavy weights. No, we're talking from a coach's perspective. Me and Adriana have coached thousands of clients, and most of those clients, at some point in their life, took group fitness. I've been running gyms for the past 8 years, and I ran the gyms that had group fitness in them. So I was even a group fitness instructor. So we're not speaking from a judgmental place. We're speaking from an analytical place and an experienced place. Now let's break down kind of what group classes we're talking about. Because, group class could be CrossFit. It could be, triathlete training. We're training in a group. We're talking about more generic group classes with the majority of people in this country are taking when they go to these gyms. We're talking about the Zumbas. We're talking about the bar fitness with the light bars. We're talking about the yoga classes within the gym. Now, is there benefits to taking group classes? Let's talk about some of the benefits to these generic group classes that you find in like 24 Hour Fitness. So have you taken a group class before?
I have, yeah. When I first started going to the gym, I used to do Zumba classes because that's all I knew. I didn't know what else to do at the gym besides cardio. So I did Zumba classes just because it was fun, and it got me moving. Yeah,
and most of your clients you've got in the past, whatever years, they've come to you and said they've taken group classes at some point.
Yeah, most of them.
And then what class would you say, like, you hear a lot of Zumba?
They do like fitness. Those like bar strengthening, with the plastic
bars, yes.
What else? Like yoga, Pilates with strength, or things like that.
And their reason for taking those classes was what, would you say, usually? We asked them, why do you take the group classes?
Because they didn't know what else to do.
Exactly. They didn't know what else to do. So that is usually why people start taking group classes in the first place. Because they really don't know what else to do when they come to the gym. A lot of times when I led these group classes in my gyms, people would come, and if we canceled the group X class, they would go home. They'd come up to me and say, Josh, what's going on? Where's Zumba? I said, Zumba's canceled. They say, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I'm trying to get a workout in. I'm like, well, there's a gym. They say, I don't want to do it. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I need to go home. They usually go home. So again, the reason people usually start taking those group classes is because of lack of knowledge. And it's not a negative thing. Literally, we all don't know what to do when we join the gym. I didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do. We try to go lift weights. Some people try to do group X classes, right? So the positive thing to that is at least you're in the gym. At least you're making that first step towards being in fitness. At least you're getting off your couch, going to a place where you're going to get your heart rate up, you're going to work, and you're working on your body. So that's a positive to it. Again, when you're starting off your journey, whatever it takes to get that foot in the door is where we need to start. But here's the problem. Now, had those clients gotten a lot of results from the group classes when you met them?
No, so they didn't get a lot of results. And I think the main reason was because when you take a group class, right, it's going to be like one instructor over like 20, 30 people. So you don't get like that one-on-one time. You don't know if you're doing the proper form and technique. And actually, a lot of my clients injured themselves in those group classes.
Okay, and as far as results, staying on the results topic, as far as body changes, they see much body change?
No.
They see much body change at all, right? Now, that is a huge issue when it comes to group X classes, right? Again, we're speaking from analytics, not judging. We're speaking from analytics. A lot of people take group classes, and we're talking about these generic group classes you find at every gym. The majority of them are not seeing results. They're just not. Almost none of them are tracking the results, and the majority of them are seeing no results. Now, why are they not seeing results in these group X classes? She touched on a few things. Outside of form, though, we'll get into form in a second, is intensity level. Right? These group X classes, what's one of the issues you see as far as intensity level?
So everyone kind of everyone's put in like the same box, right? So you start in the same fitness level. There's not that much like room to like increase the weight or like, include progressive overload. So there's no like really like you all have to kind of do the same type of weights.
And what's progressive overload? With mumbo jumbo, what's progressive?
So you can't increase the weight with each set, or you can't push to failure. Everything's like, okay, like we're gonna do this set until 30 seconds. Everyone stops at the same time, so there's no
Yes, there's no progressive overload. And what she's trying to say is really, in order for your body to grow and build muscle and improve, even cardiovascularly, and any type of improvement has to come from consistent change, consistent upping the intensity. In these group classes, most of them actually don't even lift weights. A lot of them are centered around movement. But no, even the ones that do lift weights, they're using weights that are usually below their strength level. They're using it more for cardio lifting. There's a difference between cardio lifting and muscle building lifting. Cardio lifting is just like, let's go, let's do it. Just just trying to burn calories using the weights. We're talking about developing a body that's muscle building lifting. And muscle building lifting, again, progressive overload, pushing your body, pushing those muscles for your level, not people around you. And a lot of times in these group classes, one, everyone's lifting at the same level. Two, there's not enough weights to change, right? So that's one issue we see, no progressive overload. And two, these group classes, again, we're talking about results here, are not going to shape your body. Now let's talk about shaping your body, because people do lose weight doing Zumba, doing bar classes, because again, losing weight is calories in and out. Doesn't have much to do with the methods, but we're talking about building a body. So what do you think is the main problem as far as with building bodies in a group class? Because of isolation training or what?
Yeah, so group classes, like, yes, you're going to get a calorie burn, but honestly, like when you're trying to build a physique, it's not about how many calories you burn that session in the gym. It's about that long term, you're building muscle, you're increasing your BMR, because the more muscle you have, the higher your BMR will be. You're adding muscle in like strategic places, areas you want to focus on, really developing your physique. So when going into these fitness classes, it's not about like, okay, I'm going to burn 500 calories. I feel like a lot of people, when they're trying to start their fitness journey, they focus on how many calories that they've burned. Like I've had clients before, like we go through like a weight training session and it's intense, and they're like, how come I'm not sweating that much, or like how come I feel like I'm moving more in the group classes, and they don't understand like that the weight training, it's actually gonna burn more calories in the long term. As you build more muscle.
And exactly, but let's actually even break down this even more, right? When I talk about building a body, I'm not talking about being a bodybuilder. Here's what I'm talking about. When people think about losing weight, what they're thinking about is how they'll look when they lose the weight. And everyone has a kind of image of how they think they're going to look if they lose 15 pounds. The problem is, even for people who go lift weights and do cardio, they don't understand that you can lose weight and look the same. You can look like a smaller version of yourself. That's why weightlifting is so important, because it's going to shape up your body as you lose the weight. A lot of people, especially females, will drop 25 pounds and think that they're going to have some curvy body at the end of it. They're going to have the smaller arms like they want, a smaller waistline, a more up butt. They're not, because all they did was cardio moving, not eating enough, not training their muscles. So the body gets soggy and flat. So the butt sags, the skin sags. You don't drop as much body fat as you thought you were, because you lost a lot of muscle, because you're burning through muscle. So again, these group classes, you might drop 10, 15 pounds, but a lot of times when I meet these people, they may have dropped 5, 10 pounds, but they said, Josh, what about my body? I thought I was going to have some abs. I thought I was going to even just have some waistline. What about this fat right here? What about my arm fat, my back fat? My butt is sagging. That's because it wasn't done in a method to build out your body. So circle back to the point here so we don't get lost. Again, the main point with these group classes is they're not going to put your body in an environment that changes the body. They're just putting you in a calorie burning deficit type of situation. But the majority of the classes also, you're not going to be much in a deficit, because you're not focused on what? Nutrition when you leave the class, right?
Yeah, there's no programming. There's no structure. So, I mean, how do you expect to get results week to week when you don't have anything that you're following,
Yeah, exactly. And that's the main issue with the group classes. There's no program to it. So you're not going to be on a program where you enter a bar class. Or let's say, okay, we're going to do 5, 10, 15, 20. Then we're going to do 20. There's no like method to the training. And then because there's no method to the training, a lot of those clients don't seek out information to say, I also need nutritional help. There's something about going into the gym and having to learn how to do weight training and learn how to do a cardio session on a Stairmaster or a bike that pushes your mindset into a place where you feel like you need to search out how to best put your body in a situation where they can actually succeed weightlifting and doing cardio. So you search out nutritional help again. Now again, let's get back to the main point here. We're talking about generic fitness group classes, which the majority of the group class industry is focused on. We're not talking about, again, high-level athletic training. There are great boot camp classes, boot camp gyms, which we'll get into in a second. Now, let's circle back again to long-term success. That's what we were talking about. Now, majority of clients who take group classes for years, right? They never learn how to use the weights outside the class. Was that usually your experience with it? They don't know anything outside the group class?
Yeah, I mean, they don't know proper form and techniques.
Yeah.
They don't have a program they're following, and there's no structure behind it.
Yeah, exactly. So why is that an issue? Long term, in order to be successful, you're going to need to have multiple tools in your toolbox. All right? If you feel comfortable enough to go into a gym and if the group class gets canceled, you can go out and train isolation. That's very powerful. Again, you're going to need the tools of training weights, learning how to do a program outside of group class to change your body. All right? That's how we have long-term success, when we have immense knowledge. Again, when I've trained clients, they've come to me, and a big issue they've had is they never got comfortable leaving the group class. So even though they wanted to lose weight, build a body, they just never felt comfortable enough to train by themselves, to push themselves by themselves. And let's circle back to long-term success. It's a mindset thing. The group classes creates a mindset where you need other people to push you. You need other people to get you in the gym. You need your friends to show up on a Friday night to do Zumba with you. You can't go accomplish things on your own without any external motivation, right? And internal motivation is such a huge thing, right?
Yeah, internal motivation. I mean, when starting off, like even with my clients, like, they start off with me, like I'm training them, I'm coaching them, and that's external motivation. But throughout their like programming, we really build that internal, motivation. Yep. Where they're able to, they understand, why they're eating like certain foods. Like, they understand like their pre-workout, yep, post-workout meals. They have more of that, and they're more knowledgeable in what they're doing, so that builds more motivation, and then also they're results driven.
And to even more kind of balloon out that internal motivation, they learn how to train hard and push themselves through a full workout without any help.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's the end goal for all our clients. We want to make sure they're independent, they know what they're doing, and that's how they'll get the results long term. Yeah, so internal motivation, what we're talking about here is you got to sometimes go to the gym by yourself, no help, no workout partner, and push yourself through a workout. Most of the time, that's what's going to be needed to get you long-term results. A group class might happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and not the rest of the week. You might only go 3 times, whatever. But you need the things that are going to lead you to long-term success. And the only thing that leads you to long-term success is internal motivation. Because get this, you're going to be by yourself when you leave that group class. You need internal motivation to go eat correctly. All right? That is where it starts. And that's why if you're starting your fitness journey, maybe you could start in a couple group classes if that's what you really want to do, but you really want to look what's going to help me long term. What's going to help me reach where I want to go, and that's learning how to do things on my own. And the only way to learn how to do things on my own is to learn how to use the weight room, learn how to use cardio machines, learn dieting, which you can go to a trainer or do self-research. And then you can still go to group classes and kick butt in there because you'll be in shape. But again, we're talking about results, all right? Results is the main theme of these group classes. Now let's talk about what makes a good group class. Like what makes a group class worth going to if you are going to take group classes because you want to take them a few times a week. Now, for me, I've taught group classes that were very intense because I would actively go around and make sure that clients, 1, were doing the proper form, 2, that they were actually pushing themselves, and 3, we were using real weights, real equipment, real methods, interval style training. Like you would say interval style training is probably going to be the best type of group class, right? Yeah, and I have clients who, they do take group classes, but it's after they're more intermediate lifters. After they, they learn proper form and techniques, and they even, some of them even substitute, their cardio for, a cardio group class instead, like spin bike or, Barry's Boot Camp or Orange Theory. I mean, you can substitute it for cardio, but you can't substitute it for your weight training.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big point. We're not saying you can't take group classes or you shouldn't take group classes. The main point is get yourself going, learn how to do the weights, start to build your body, start getting results. Then you can go to group class maybe to get a break from the gym. Not everybody wants to train weights every single day or train in that environment. Sometimes you want to go into group class, show off a little bit. Who knows what you want to do. But you can go in there a few times a week. I have high-level clients who like to take, again, the Orange Theory class once a week, some boot camps once a week just to push themselves. Because group classes, if it's a real group class, can be grueling. Look at a CrossFit. A CrossFit is a group class. It is very intense, but even with CrossFit, right? Let's talk about CrossFit. So, CrossFit is a place that a lot of new people look into when they're starting to train because they think, okay, I want a group setting. CrossFit seems intense, which it is. There's lots of lifters. It's athletic, and there's something a little bit sexy about it, right? I'm a CrossFitter. You can say that. I'm a CrossFitter. Like people like to say, I like to do Tough Mudders. You like to put like a little twist on it versus just working out, right? Now, what are the issues with CrossFit for a new gym goer? Just pick one. What do you think is the issue from, let's say I'm a mom, I'm 33, got a 2-year-old, I work full time, and I want to go to a CrossFit class at 5 p.m. right after work.
Honestly, like CrossFit, like when you're first starting off and you don't have any foundation, it's gonna lead to injury. So when you're first starting off going to the gym, it's better you first build that foundation and then you can transition into a CrossFit, you know. Yeah,
so CrossFit, if you gotta understand, CrossFit was designed for cross training. That seems obvious, but a lot of people don't think it this way. Cross training is designed for athletes. That's like I train athletes, he's train athletes. A lot of times we'll put them in cross training, high interval style workouts that are like back to back because you're working out multiple planes of movement, right? You're getting their cardiovascular system going, teaching them to train when they're tired, which athletes need, fast twitch muscles, all these different things come into play during a CrossFit workout, right? The problem is when you're a newbie, you don't have any muscle, no cardio endurance, no type of form.
You haven't gone to the gym in
you haven't gone to the gym 5 years. You're going to hop into an environment you're not ready for. And if even a CrossFit trainer will tell you, if they're honest, they'll tell you that, yeah, maybe you should go through a couple other steps or even get with a good CrossFit trainer who actually understands, hey, you're a mom, you just came in the gym first time, you're a dad who hasn't been in the gym in 10 years, you can't just hop into a 1,000-meter row, into a this and that and the other. Because the majority of clients we've seen, they come from CrossFit injured. Not necessarily because CrossFit as a program is just killing people, it's just the client's not ready.
They don't build the foundation.
You're just not ready. You don't know how to move. A lot, weightlifting, even in the gym, it's about controlling movement, mind to muscle connection, which comes over time. So even with us, we're just doing isolation training, which seems simple, but it's very careful because a lot of these clients, they don't know how to control their body. They don't know what, like you find out with clients, right?
Yeah.
Clients don't know how to control, you don't simple stuff.
Like, step number one, there's no core strength, there's no stability, so that leads to, back injury, or I tweak my back, or they also don't understand their body, how it moves, when you first start, or like their strength. So of course, especially in a group setting, there might be not like that many weights available. They pick a heavier weight, they tweak their back. So it's just about building that foundation, learning your body, knowing, what weights you can do.
Again, so the thing with CrossFit is it's very dynamic movements. They can teach you though. I'm not saying it's impossible. I've had clients who've started at CrossFit and they didn't get injured. They just ended up moving on to something else because they wanted to more fine-tune their body. Because again, CrossFit's not necessarily going to be focused on shaping your body. It's going to be focused more on performance, right? They have more performance goals. They don't not necessarily shape goals. And a lot of times if you're looking to shape your body, the CrossFit methods are going to shape your body differently than the bodybuilding methods. CrossFitters are more boxy because they're using, again, different muscle groups to lift these weights. And when I say bodybuilding, I'm not talking about you're competing. I'm talking about when you're doing isolation training, it's going to be able to mold your body. So let's put a ribbon on CrossFit. CrossFit, anyone can do CrossFit. I'm talking about like if you have the mindset for it. If you put your mind to it, you say, I want to eventually do CrossFit at some point. There's 2 routes to go about it. The main route I suggest people go to is first learn how to train weights, learn how to go to gym consistently, learn how to stretch, learn how to take care of your body. Then maybe a month or 2 into your fitness journey, if you did all those things, go find a good CrossFit box, right? A good CrossFit box is full of instructors who have your long-term success in the front of their mind. An instructor who's going to stop you if you're doing BS. Because a lot of times some of the instructors in other CrossFit boxes, they're so distracted by all the stuff going on that they put you in compromising positions. But I know a lot of great CrossFit trainers, and I know really bad CrossFit trainers. Just like I know terrible big box gym trainers, and I know good in-box gym trainers. So I'm not saying that you're going to find a good trainer going to 24-hour fitness just as much as you're going to find a good trainer going to CrossFit. The goal is no matter what place you put yourself in, whether it's in the gym, in CrossFit, in boxing, in whatever, you got to find good coaches and good leaders if you're going to sign up for something like that. Make sure they're good. And that segues into kind of my last point, our last couple points. Boxing classes and classes kind of like that, those high cardio classes, tough mudding classes. I mean, have you ever had clients take those in some of those classes?
I've had clients do boxing, but it was just like, that was part of their cardio component.
Yeah.
It wasn't like instead of weight training.
Yeah, exactly. So boxing, remember, there's two types of boxing person, right? Not the main person you're here in this country says, I take boxing. They don't. They do pad work at a low level. They go, they play the music, they're all partying there. Because they want to emulate what real boxing is, right? Real boxing training, MMA training, fighting training. This is intense training, right? With the singular goal of becoming a tougher fighter that's more cardio conditioned for fighting, has the muscle fibers for fighting, but not necessarily focused on development of the body. So a lot of people think they're going to go into these cardio classes and look like a fighter and look like a shredded boxer. But they're not. Again, because you're not on the diet plan of a boxer. You're not. And boxers, and I know I'm all over the place, but I gotta get these points in. Boxers still train isolation training. They still train isolation training at times in their off seasons, just to add strength. It might be more dynamic compound training more than isolation. Actually, I take that back. A little more compound dynamic, a little bit of isolation training. But they're still training with weights at a high level. These boxing classes more focus on just you touching the pads and sweating and music. So again,
it's more cardio based.
Yes, exactly. It's more cardio based. So taking it for cardio works, but we're talking about results and developing your body. And again, the majority of people who join gyms, they have a vision for how they're gonna look, not just losing weight. They think losing weight's gonna make them look a particular way. Remember, and we'll end on this actually. It's good. Losing weight doesn't mean you're gonna change. Like as far as your body's not gonna look like everybody thinks that. Underneath their fat, they have some amazing body, but that's not necessarily true, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can hop on the treadmill, run for 2 hours every day. You're gonna get a weight loss, but once you lose that weight, if there's no muscle, underneath, there's not gonna be like the physique you're looking for. Yeah,
exactly. So remember, you gotta always remember this. Everybody thinks that their overweight is hiding their amazing body. You'll hear that a lot, especially from guys. They'll say, "Oh man, if I drop 30 pounds, I'm gonna look amazing." No, you're not. If you're not adding muscle, if you're not doing the right things, all right. It's not some magic thing where you're just hiding, great body underneath. You need to develop your body as you're losing the weight. We call that recomposition. We're taking your body, we're losing weight, we're adding muscle, we're changing how your body looks. You're not just going to become a smaller version of yourself. So let's wrap it up. The main thing to take from this: group classes have a place in fitness. I'm not saying they don't. But when we're talking about results for the general fitness goer, which the majority of people are, you need to understand that group classes on a generic level, like your Zumbas and bar work and yogas and all these different classes, they're not going to provide you with the type of stimulation, the type of environment which is going to lead to body change, where you come out a different person and you can hold on to it for a long term. So again, we're focused on mindset, development of the body, develop the good habits. That's what you get when you actually go learn how to train weights. You learn how to do proper cardio. You learn to take everything in from internal motivation, not external.
You learn programming.
Yeah, you learn programming. This is what you need. Then you add group classes. You can do whatever you want. I have clients who don't. I have clients who are in shape now. They went through the transformation, doing more isolation, more compound stuff. And now they kind of moved on to a hybrid. They do 3 weightlifting days a week, 2 classes. They ride a bike on a Saturday. You can do whatever you want. It's your fitness journey. And again, you always get a golden star for at least doing something in fitness, but you want to get the double, the triple golden star, the 4 you want to get to your end goal. And the only way you do that again is to fall on the right path. So to sum it up, what would you say? What last thing we want to say about group classes?
Make sure if you're results driven, if you really want your physique to change, make sure you get on a structured plan. Understand why you're doing certain things, why you're eating certain foods. The importance of weight training, the importance of cardio, and then you can always substitute group classes for cardio, but don't do the group classes instead of weightlifting and expect your body to change.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we're talking about results here. We're not just talking about sweating and going to class. We're not trying to demonize group classes, but we're trying to make sure you understand what the realness is. All right, episode 6, the In-Schape podcast. I'm Jocko Comedy.
And I'm Adriana.
We'll be back with more episodes. We're working through trying to get this thing figured out. But until then, get to the weightlifting. Get in the weightlifting section. We out.